Working?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay. Just,
All right, sound check 1 2 1 2. Sound check 1 2 1 2. This is YouTube sound. We got about a 20-second delay. Sound check 2. Sound check 1 2 1 2. This is YouTube sound. Might go ahead and talk and read a chance.
no. Wow. Why
Okay.
are you going to my speakers? So weird. I said default way. Those are my headphones. Hold on. It's not working. Speakers. So. Try talking now?
Might go ahead and giggity. Giggity giggity.
No. Hold on. Let's just this. Okay, now it should work.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine now. That's great. Awesome.
Alright, cool. Everything's coming through YouTube, alright. Everything is good. I am going to send out my notifications that we are going live. I mean, we're technically live now, but I got my logo up.
Cool.
Alright, can you hear me and everything all right now?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. Thank you.
Alright, awesome. Alright, hello YouTube and Twitch. This is Venom from WHL Entertainment. I can hear someone talking really loud in the background over there.
Let's turn it down.
Let's see here. Let me make sure I got the chats up and we are ready to go. Alright, YouTube chat is up. Twitch chat is up. Alright, hello YouTube and Twitch. This is Venom with WHL Entertainment, and today I'm joined by a special guest. It is actually the clan leader from my Warframe clan. I'm Caillou. I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself, how you want us to call you, and if you got your own channel, anything you want to pimp out or anything, now's the time.
No, I don't have my own channel thing. My name is Caillou. I'm the clan leader for the White Dragons on Warframe. If you'd like to join the clan, please do. We're always looking for new members. And yeah.
Alright, so it has been a long time since we've done a live podcast. This is actually our 9th episode. We were doing them every Friday, then real life kind of popped up, things happen. But we are back, and I mean, gaming news, there's been no shortage of it. There's tons that we've missed. There's tons going on right now. So I guess we'll just kind of dive into our first topic. We got 3 real big topics today as far as directly involving gaming, and then one kind of off topic. It's still tied in, but something I kind of want to go over. So I guess first things first on the list, the big Ninja controversy. Okay, I'm gonna have to mute whoever's in the background talking there because they're really loud. Hold on one second. Alright, let me make sure I'm in the right thing here. Okay, I see now. Okay, so first off, if you haven't noticed or you're not into the Fortnite scene, there's been a big controversy, and I say controversy cut in quotation marks. And keep in mind, I don't know Caillou's opinion on this or anything yet. I'm just saying what it is, and I'll give my opinion afterwards. Well, there's the biggest game out right now. It's a game called Fortnite. For those that don't know, it is a Battle Royale style game. 100 players go in, kind of wacky looking, but it's basically a big free-for-all. You can play singles or doubles or teams, however you want to play. And it's basically fight to the last man or last team standing. Ninja is his screen name. Is pretty much the biggest Twitch streamer for this game, and really the biggest streamer in the world right now. I think at last count he had 10 million subs. And for those that don't know, subs on Twitch is like direct money every month. So, I mean, this guy is doing really great playing this game. Biggest streamer, biggest game. I can only hope to emulate his success. And there's been a bit of controversy here lately surrounding his policies when streaming. So here we have an article in Time. I kind of don't like the spin some people have put on this, but I'm going to kind of read off the I'm going to read off the article here. And let's see, this is by Katie Lane, published August 14th, and here's the times. And it is Fortnite star Ninja addresses backlash after he said he doesn't play with female gamers. Now, just from that title, you can imagine the backlash that would surround something like that. But he does go into detail as to his philosophy, and it's not nearly as bad as people would have you think, at least in my opinion. You can draw your own conclusions when you actually go through this article and subsequent articles. But I'll go ahead and read a little bit of it here. It's Tyler Ninja Blevins, who rose to fame playing video game Fortnite. See right here, there is, I got a typo in the Times article, that's insane. Tyler Ninja Blevins rose to fame playing the video game Fortnite, they forgot the on the live video game streaming site Twitch, addressed backlash to his recent admission to Polygon that he doesn't stream with women. Now, again, right there's a few ways that this could be spun, but we're going to go ahead and read exactly what he says on this and why he does this. Excuse me. In the interview, Blevins, aka Ninja, states bluntly, "I don't play with female gamers. If I have one conversation with one female streamer while we're playing with one another, and even if there's a hint of flirting, that is going to be taken and going to be put on every single video and be clickbait forever." So, right there, I mean, that's his statement right there. And something I didn't know until this entire thing happened. Ninja's actually married. I had no idea he was married until this whole controversy happened. And one of the things he clarified in saying this was that he didn't want to put his wife through those potential clickbait issue. So, first initial thoughts. I guess what's your initial? I know you know some about this already, Kai, but what's been kind of your reaction or thoughts on this whole thing?
Well, I think it's a smart policy that he's doing by not female gamers because he just doesn't want trouble of it, and I think that it's his choice, and I feel like the backlash he got from it is like it's how do I say it? It's his it's pretty much his, and I feel like
You're cutting in and out really bad. Sorry.
okay,
Yeah, really. Do you got it on push to talk, or does it just start up when you start talking?
okay. Is it better now?
Yeah, much better.
Okay. So let's say I think it's a good policy for him to have because he has a wife, and it could be some people might take it the wrong way and just flirt him, and he doesn't want to make his wife jealous. So that's a really good policy. I'm not playing with them at all. I think it's also a smart decision to make how to say it, in business, but I can see why he's getting backlash with the whole. I think the backlash is mostly coming from SJWs, to be honest. And yeah, that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, and that's kind of my opinion too. And this is just a bit more of the article, and I kind of give a little bit more on that as well. Blevins took to Twitter to clarify statements, emphasizing that his decision to keep his channel female gamer free is because he wants to prevent online harassment and gossip about his wife, Jessica, aka Jay Ghostly Blevins, who's also a streamer on Twitch. See, I also didn't know she was a streamer either. See, these are things that I had no idea. He goes on to say, while I understand some people have implied my views mean I have something against playing with women, I want to make clear the issue I'm addressing is online harassment and my attempt to minimize it from our life. So I wholeheartedly agree with this decision, much like you do. I completely agree. He's in a no-win situation right now. I do agree that it's just people getting upset just to get upset. Taking what he said out of context because he's clearly stated why he's got the policy that he's got. Some people have gone so far, and I actually saw a video from the Know. It is kind of it's a gaming channel from Rooster Teeth. Some people that I greatly admire. Again, hope to emulate success. Love you guys. But I was very disappointed when they put out a video, and this is the only video I've ever seen them get horrifically down-clicked on. I think when I last saw, they had like 1 like to every 4 dislikes, which was insane. I went through and watched the whole video, and some of the things they were implying, they're ignoring the context and trying to put a bit more onto his plate than they should. They were implying that because he is a great success, suddenly he has to be this moral arbiter and support, not quite word for word, but support, every kind of streamer or support all these things when all he is, and it's not to try to downplay this at all, I mean, he's just a Twitch streamer who's good at Fortnite and just happens to play, very well and is very popular. He wasn't a moral arbiter to begin with. He didn't have any kind of crazy stances before he started this. He doesn't have to make everything a political issue. He is what he is. He is a Twitch streamer, a wildly successful one, but that's what he is. And he got to where he is with the same policies he already has, which are good policies. Some people may not like it, but there are male and female streamers who, aren't related or aren't, married or dating or in any shape, form, or fashion connected with each other, except they stream together. And people ship them all the time. I could very easily see how that would be harmful to someone's marriage, or how that would put potential stress on a husband or a wife, seeing, your spouse, being shipped like that.
If
Go
I
ahead.
could put input on it, so we've seen this with other streamers. I'm the PUBG streamer. Remember? literally almost destroyed his.
You're cutting out again.
From that, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah. About Doctor, the PUBG streamer, like when if I was apparently literally destroyed his career. That could female streamers because he doesn't even have to do it. If then that's his whole career, and he has nothing to gain from that.
You're really, really cutting in and out bad. I heard most of what you said, but yeah, it's really bad. Yeah, you're right, man. I got the gist of what you were saying. I mean, yeah, I mean, any kind of well, and it really is whether you do it or not. Especially with streamers and online, where people can basically make up and say whatever they want to. Any kind of video or any hint of flirting on one person or not, or any conceived hint of anything between somebody, that can not only just destroy your career, but destroy your life too. It can destroy your marriage, it can destroy your family. And he's essentially being criticized for protecting himself and his family. Now, just because on the outside it says, I don't stream with female gamers, people tend to forget that. I mean, there's context with that. He's very openly saying he's not against female streamers, he's not against female gamers. This is a policy he has in place so that nobody has any misconceptions about him and anyone else that he streams with. And it is very easy to misconstrue something like that. And again, it's not just in gaming, it's all over the place. I mean, whether you like them or not, and I don't usually bring, politics into my gaming, as far as actual political stuff, but Mike Pence, the vice president, got a huge backlash. Now, again, whether you like him or not, we're going to keep that out. But he got a bunch of backlash similar to Ninja long before this when he said he wouldn't go to dinner with women who weren't his wife. Now, some people said that was sexist, and some people said that's just him taking that temptation or taking any potential, honestly, the same thing, taking any potential issues for people harassing him or his wife by implying something was happening that wasn't, or just taking that temptation away, period. People gave him crap for that, which I personally find odd in the Me Too age when women are coming forward with all these claims about how they've been harassed and they're just now speaking up, which, again, if you have been or something that's happening along those lines, please do speak up. They are brave women. At the same time, we've also seen quite a few false accusations pop up as well. Duke Lacrosse case, one big one. Those boys' lives were destroyed forever, and it turns out they didn't do anything. They were innocent. They were just in a situation where somebody could take advantage of where they were at. Now, let's keep reading down the article. There we go. Okay, so continuing on with the Times article. Blevins later affirmed a few of his female counterparts, noting that he and his wife are fans of all kinds of streamers and gamers. Fans of all kinds of streamers. They have a lot of misspelling for a Times article, that's all I'm saying. Are fans of all kinds of streamers and gamers, and was looking forward to the opportunity to meet and play with all kinds of Fortnite players in future tournaments and events. So again, he's gone through, he's let everybody know he's not a sexist. This is just a policy honestly, at this point, he is a brand, and if he doesn't have a business, I'm sure he does by now. So it's just good business practice. It's protecting his brand. It's protecting him, protecting his family. And yet people are still getting their panties in a twist. There's no other ways to put it.
See, here's the thing on a business side. Like you said, it is a brand, and he has literally nothing to gain by playing with a female streamer. He's at the top of his game right now. He's entering into mainstream media. So what's he to gain from, let's say, playing with like another female streamer like Sprinkles or someone like that? He's not gaining anything. They're gaining a huge benefit just from playing with him.
Exactly.
It's just literally smart business for him to avoid that.
Exactly, and again, he got to where he's at with the policy that he has already.
Yeah, so why would you end something that's so working for you? Why change the formula? I think he might change it when there's someone just as popular as him, streamer. I think that's the only time he will ever change his policy. Otherwise, he should never change it, and I don't think he ever will.
And again, I agree. I mean, if that ever happened, let's say a female streamer, got as big as him, or even another male streamer, it doesn't matter who it is, when someone gets to that level, then at that point, yeah, then it makes sense to stream with that person. Even someone maybe not quite as famous, but still who has a huge following, maybe not 10 million subs on Twitch, but maybe 5 million or a million or even 500,000. Yeah, granted, whoever he would stream with would be probably getting a lot more out of streaming with him than he would from them, but that's still a way to grow. And yeah, as of right now, I mean, he's doing all this. He's at the top of his game doing what he's doing already. So until he needs to change, there's no reason for him to do so. And the idea that he has to be some moral arbiter or take up all these different causes or switch up what he's doing to protect his family, that makes no sense, especially when there's no ill intent behind it.
See, here's another side of it. I don't think everyone else looked at is that he's part of the Me Too movement. He's a gamer and a streamer, right? And that has not affected the Me Too movement as much. Like, not a lot of gamers and streamers have been affected by the Me Too movement. If he's the first one to be affected by it, that's a huge downside on gamers themselves and on his brand as well too.
Exactly. I mean, that'll be another black eye in the gaming industry that is not earned. I mean, there's plenty of things that have happened within the gaming industry, not just with gamers, but especially with the companies that have given us a lot of black eyes as a whole. But, I mean, most of them have been unearned black eyes, like, the idea that games cause people to be more violent has been debunked more times than I can remember. The idea that, playing something like GTA where, you can do all these violent things or where you can beat up hookers or all these things. They focus on that one small thing and forget the whole rest of the game and then still try to say, well, this is going to cause young men to do this or cause young women to do that, even though, let's face it, they say it's mainly the young men that are going to do it. But it turns out playing these games actually has the opposite effect, and it's been proven many times for decades now that you don't become a sociopath playing games. You're less likely to do the things you're doing in the game than you are in real life.
I think it's because people are jumping to conclusions. They're not getting the full story, just like with the whole violent video games thing on a tangent. Also, for another tangent, the Me Too movement. If let me see. Let me get my train of thought again. I just lost it. Sorry.
It's all good. But that was one time article. Let's see if we can find another one here. And I'm doing all this in live here, so I'm switching between a couple different screens and checking out articles too. There we go. Let's just type in Ninja Backlash and kind of get a good idea of what these articles are just by checking this. So most of them just say Ninja responds, yada, Ninja Backlash. Ninja draws backlash for using N-word. Okay, I didn't know about that. Oh, now here's one. Here's one from The Verge. Just so people don't think I'm trying to draw news from one spot. Here we go. I have no idea what this article's about, so I'm just pulling it up. This is from The Verge by Megan. I'm not even going to try to say her last name for Frocan-Mashin. Okay, it's titled, Ninja's Unwillingness to Stream with Women is a Problem that Points to a Larger Problem. Okay, so first off, his unwillingness to stream is not a problem. We can already see how this is being framed already in the article. Let's go ahead and scroll down here and take a look. So Twitch's biggest streamer, by far, or Ninja, doesn't stream with women. He's spoken about his decision before, explaining that it's just not worth it to the face of potential drama and rumors that might occur as a result. Okay, so far, you can already tell the "it's just not worth it" was put in there without context, but even so, even without context, he's the biggest streamer. It's not really worth it for him to stream with anybody. He's the biggest streamer. But let's keep going. Last week, he echoed that sentiment again to The Verge's sister site, Polygon. If I have one conversation with one female streamer where we're playing with one another, and even if there's a hint of flirting, it's going to be taken and going to be put on every single video and be clickbait forever, which is true. Once it's on the internet, whether it's true or not, it's there forever. Unsurprisingly, Blevins' belief that the only way to avoid that gossip is not to play with women at all has been decisive. Blevins is inarguably popular, with more than 16 million subscribers on YouTube, 10 million on Twitch, and 3 million followers on Twitter. His platform and fame allow him a unique opportunity to set trends within his, to set trends within his industry and speak to a wide rapt audience. See, I can see where this is going already. Because he had... Go ahead.
Oh, continue. Go ahead. I feel that he shouldn't be setting trends at all. I think he should just be... He shouldn't be the only one setting trends because I don't know if you remember what happened with the whole Ligma thing.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about that with Ninja with the Ligma thing?
No.
Some creator made a post that said Ligma, and they wanted to make a meme of Ninja, and the thing it got way out of hand when he said no, it's false. I'm not gonna support this. So basically, the meme was Ligma, which is basically short for leg my nuts, you know. So people say he would have Ligma, and it would mean that he would be saying lick my nuts, which was not something he wanted to support. But that got blown out to a whole big proportion because he would not support it. I don't know if you want to research that. That's a very small thing that happened I believe 2 weeks ago.
Nope.
Way before this.
Nope. And it looks like people are just dogpiling on him even more and more. And the whole trend-setting thing, I mean, I agree. He shouldn't be setting Again, he's a Twitch streamer, and when I say that, I don't want anyone to think I say with disdain. I mean, I'm doing a podcast about games. I hope to do this as a career, but he's a Twitch streamer who plays Fortnite, possibly other games in the future, or right now. I don't personally watch him because I'm not into Fortnite. I know everyone can hate me later, but I mean, I cannot deny the man is successful doing what he does, but that's all he does. He is a Twitch streamer. Just because he can do something does not mean that he should or should even want to. I mean, yes, he has a huge audience, but he has a huge audience that he has a responsibility to, and that is to play Twitch or to play Fortnite on Twitch to be a great gamer, and that is it. There's no more he has to do. There's no, automatic contract to where when you become popular, suddenly you have to set all these trends. And even in fact, I would say the trends he is setting, having this policy of not streaming with female gamers, I'd say that's a good policy. I'd say if a female Twitch streamer had a policy not to stream with male gamers, good policy. Especially if you're married. If you don't want this kind of thing to happen, good policy. Doesn't matter who you are. Going on with this paragraph, streaming with others is an endorsement. It allows him to share his spotlight, right there, share his spotlight, thereby helping other streams to expand their own audiences. By not playing with women, Blevins is sending a message whether he means to or not. See, right there. It's not that he has to be good. I mean, he's doing good on a platform that, let's face it, you have 10 times more chance to be successful on if you were born with boobs than otherwise. He has risen to the spot of the #1 streamer, and I can guarantee that if a woman had risen, matter of fact, not even a woman, if it was anyone but, this white male who is straight, he's married, if it was anybody else but a white male who was a #1 spot, and they had said what Ninja said, this would not be a problem. Had it been a woman who was a #1 spot, I don't stream with men, I don't want to put that kind of strain on my relationship, on my marriage, nobody would bat a damn eye. But because it just happens to be a white guy, suddenly he has to be a trendsetter and share his spotlight to help other people rise up. I think that's bullshit on so many levels. Go ahead, please.
Most people look at, like you said, I think to apply to everything, because if you think about it, let's say I'm taking this way to the extreme. Let's say a male teacher, had sex with a 18-year-old female. You'd be like, oh my god.
Cutting out again.
This is so bad, right?
Cutting out again.
Am I cutting out?
Yeah.
Am I fine now?
You're fine now.
Okay. I'm gonna take this to extreme. Let's say a male teacher had sex with a female student. You'd be like, oh my god, that's so fucking bad. This, right?
Oh yeah, it'll be hell to pay.
Switch it around and you say you're had sex with a 14-year-old male student. Oh my god, that's so cool. Way to go. to the other side and think about the situation and like between males and females.
Yeah,
And people are not looking at it like that.
it's a complete double standard. I mean, that's what it is. And I'm gonna read one more part of this article because the whole thing is just cancerous. I'm gonna read this one more paragraph, and it's gonna kind of they contradict themselves. I was reading a little bit where you're saying that, but they contradict themselves on here. It continues on to say, on Twitter, many have been critical of his stance. No one is saying Ninja has to stream with women, said illustrator and streamer Austin Marie. We're saying that his saying he won't is problematic and doesn't help any way for women making their way in an industry that constantly calls any woman tits a thought. Right there. No one is saying Ninja has to, but it's a problem that he won't. Make that one make sense in your head. And by the way, just for those that don't know, no, not every female streamer is a thought. But a lot of people don't seem to know about it. When you hear about Twitch, you think, it's a bunch of people playing video games. And yes, there's online harassment for men and women. However, that whole thought thing comes into play because you can do more on Twitch besides just stream games. If you've never looked up the person, check out a streamer called Amaranth. And then you tell us if you don't think maybe there might be a reason that some people are getting upset with some of the women on Twitch, because there's some stuff on Twitch going on that, I mean, it's basically lazy cam girls at this point that just won't get naked. I mean, if you want to be a cam girl but are too lazy to get naked, then you go to Twitch. That's all it is. Now, I'm not saying that's every female on Twitch. There is a certain small subsection in Twitch that does that. Most people on Twitch just want to get on there, stream some games, stream some stuff going on in their lives, have a good time, talk to some people. But there are some people who are very large on Twitch who are making other people look bad. And there are plenty of female Twitch streamers who have been outspoken about this as well. You don't hear about them, though. And this idea that somehow he is essentially making this whole thing worse, I think it's complete and utter bullshit. I mean, if he, as the largest Twitch streamer for games, is supposed to be some kind of shiny example as to what you can and can't do, or shouldn't do in the industry, then I'd say, okay, let's say we go with that line of thought. Then that means every big streamer has to adhere by the exact same standards of behavior as well. But I can guarantee no SJW or no one making the argument that he's problematic is going to make that argument. So that's just my 2 cents on it. I think the whole quote-unquote controversy is bullshit. I think you and I both understand as well. I also think that the best way for Ninja to handle this is to do what he's doing right now, and that's to just keep streaming his games and ignore the controversy. Because when you start... Go ahead.
See, here's the thing. Whatever he's doing is working for him right now. His fan base is not going to leave him. But see, if he starts switching policies, the people who stuck with him so far might not stick with him. He might be losing thousands of subscribers just so he can satisfy the general public who's not supporting him at all. That's the thing. Like, his fans are supporting him. Most people don't understand that. Like, him changing policies does not mean that everyone else who never watched video games or played video games or, like, watching his stream can comment on it, but they're not going to be supporting him afterwards.
Exactly. The best way to avoid this kind of controversy is to just ignore it. It will die down eventually, because the people that support him already know what his policy is to begin with. He's obviously got the support now. Like you said, the best thing to do is keep doing what he's doing. Don't change up your policy. It's good business practice to keep doing what he's doing, obviously, because he's got millions of subscribers across multiple platforms. I think it's about, 21 million or over 20 million subs across, 3 different platforms right now. I mean, ignore it, Ninja. If you ever see this video somehow, ignore the controversy. People that get upset about this kind of thing, it's just a small vocal minority. So with Ninja, all you gotta do is just ignore what they're saying. They're gonna run out of steam and go to the next thing. I mean, it's the internet.
I feel like he's only big right now because of everyone's so uptight in the Me Too movement and SJW going, a lot of SJWs, and I feel like that's why it's news like the fresh out new thing. But once it, like you said, once it dies down, they'll jump on another bandwagon. They'll jump right on it. Like
Yeah,
when something else comes out, it's nothing new.
yeah, he's successful now. He will stay successful as long as he just keeps doing what he's doing. The press, as again, all this internet crap, people are squirrels in here. They have very short attention span. Just ignore it. Ignore the constant crap coming up because no matter what, he's going to be in a bad position just because somebody want to pick on him because he's a bigger streamer. That's all it is. Ignore it. Move on. Keep doing what you're doing. And I mean, just roll in the millions, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Like I said, I only can hope to potentially get some small smidgen of success anywhere close to ninjas. But like I said, that's just the latest ninja controversy. I can't even call it a controversy. I temper tantrum that people are having. Because honestly, in my opinion, this is a non-issue. But, okay, that was the ninja thing. So, next up in controversy news, and again, I say controversy in air quotes because technically speaking, the company has already solved this problem, which is pretty funny here, but let me pull up the next article. Battlefield 5 is going through some pretty big issues right now. So, again, if you're not haven't been keeping track of it or don't follow Battlefield at all, so the newest installment of Battlefield is Battlefield 5. It is a World War II shooter, kind of like Call of Duty. It's kind of been the Battlefield series has kind of been the adversary to Call of Duty. So they're usually going head to head. Call of Duty, they do some of the more futuristic warfare. They kind of go all over the place. Battlefield has kind of been sold, marketed, and its fan base knows that the more realistic war shooter. It's not the most realistic. I mean, there have been war simulators all over the place, but as far as big mainstream games, Battlefield is the forerunner as far as that goes. So the Battlefield 5 trailer dropped a while ago. I can't remember when because I was too late to look it up, I'll be honest. And the opening scenes and here's where, I'm just going to go ahead and read the first part of this article. It's going to give you an idea of what, quote-unquote, the media and the game industry seems to think the problem is, and then I'll go into what people have actually physically said what the problem is. But this is an article from The Sun, and it's titled, and as you can see where it's going just from the title, Gender Agenda. Battlefield 5 Woman Soldiers Controversy continues as game boss defends diversity in World War II shooter. It says, in the face of mounting controversy, the exec says game's female soldiers aren't going anywhere. Now, before even going into this article, I will describe the opening trailer for Battlefield 5. I do recommend you go check it out. I'm not going to post it during the stream, or actually, I probably can actually, as long as we're only doing it in parts. I still believe it falls on the fair use. We'll find out. We're going to test out the fair use today. Bear with me here just a second. So while I'm doing that, tell me what you know about the whole Battlefield, about the history of Battlefield as far as you know it, and what you know about what's going on right now there, Kaya.
So basically, I played Battlefield since Battlefield 4, I believe. I think that's the first one I played, and it was great. I loved the campaign, loved the game ever since. Bought all of them so far except for Hardline. I thought Hardline was really bad. They should have never made Hardline, but that's on a side note.
That was the one that had the police vehicles or whatever it was, right?
Yeah, the police vehicle and whole chase thing. I could never get into that. I have no problems with the whole female character creation. I think it's great to include females because it's just something, it's just another option. You don't have to play as male. I feel like if they just made it male only, it's just really restricting. It's just less choices basically, and I feel like games multiplayer, the more choices you have, the better it'll be.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that too. I mean, the more choices you have as a business, it makes sense. As a consumer, it makes sense. But I got the first trailer from 2 months ago up right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and play it. I'm gonna have the sound off. I'm just gonna play about 10-15 seconds of the trailer. Keep in mind, this has always been branded as the more realistic modern shooter. And again, this is a bit old news. This is a 2-month-old trailer. We're just not getting to it, but it's still going on because some more developments have happened. I'm going to go ahead and play a few seconds of this trailer here without the sound. So here we can see a close-up, something with chains, teddy bears, there we go, dead body. Okay, so here from the start, we can see some soldiers running in. Okay, we got a female soldier, not a big deal. Not really an issue so far, and right here. Okay, so about at that spot, let me back up here. Okay. Now, this all happens to be on the same character. But what do you notice on this character's body? A best way I can describe it is a Terminator hand. So this chick is completely.
You could say it's a prosthetic. I
yeah,
guess.
It's a prosthetic, but this is. I'm a Marine. I've seen prosthetics. This is a freaking RoboCop Terminator future. This is like World War IV. I could see this being something. Yeah, this is like if Sarah Connor's banged Terminator. This is what their kid's arm would look like, type thing. So this chick is like the best way I can describe her. She looks like a chick. Have you ever played the old game Shadowrun?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like done up like she's in the game Shadowrun. I mean, she's got the bionic arm. She's got like elfin makeup all over her face. And keep in mind, this is supposed to be the oh crap! Look at as of the time of this. As of right now, this thing has got 333,000 likes, 445,000 downvotes. Holy crap! I didn't realize this was that bad. But right here, this article is trying to make it sound as though people had an issue with the female character. The problem people have explicitly said, and let's go down to comments here. Let's see. Every before seen portrayal. If you don't add wheelchair soldiers to the game, I feel truly offended. May contain content inappropriate for history. Makes Infinite Warfare a good game now. Not belying this political whatever job. People seem to have. What is this? I know I can't see any of the black, disabled, female kid soldiers. So people are basically making fun of the one because they had a female on the front line of World War II, which I have to go out and say right now was something that happened. Now, it happened a lot more in Russia. The Russian snipers were a big thing, and I actually scrolled down to this article. They actually have a picture of a female Russian sniper team. But women in the front line for World War II were not a common thing. Does that mean you shouldn't be able to have a player character as that? Hell no. I totally agree. Let you make whatever character you want to. I mean, if I want to be a 3'2" Filipino midget when I play, I want to be able to do that. But the thing people had a problem with was the prosthetic arm and basically the Lord of the Rings makeup she had on. And that it was this one female character that seemed to be the focus of the entire trailer, and it does go on to show her some more. But I mean, all in all, it didn't seem like a big deal to me. It was just a prosthetic arm. So I give you 3 guesses as to what the media did when people didn't like the trailer. The trailer, by the way, for a game that's supposed to be a modern, or not modern, but a realistic World War II shooter. So how do you think they would react, Kaya? Would they react, as wise individuals, something like that? What do you think the reaction was?
So first of all, I think we're taking this too literally. Like, it's just the game, people. Like, it's okay if they deviate from real life. Okay, guys. Like, that's what people do not understand. That Battlefield takes place in a different time, in different era, and in different storylines from us. It might somewhat have some similarities, but they're totally different from real life. So that's first of all. I think, like I said, having a female character is just it's just an option. You don't have to play it, and it's just there. Like, are you mad that they give you more options? I'd be more mad that they're giving us less options.
Yeah, we wouldn't be mad about anything. Get mad if they put it behind a paywall. Like, yeah, you can only play with the female character if you pay, $20 and get it out of this random loot box, which I'm surprised they aren't doing. Oh, I'm surprised they might do it. Who knows?
See, if they did that, I think people would be more mad, than saying, oh, here's a free character they can play as. Like, I think this is just like some, like, I'm so happy that they included a female in there, to be honest.
Man, I am too. Again, there's no reason to not have that as an option in there. And again, it is a video game. You're free to do things like this because it is a video game. You can make whatever well, in theory, you can make, a wide range. You obviously can't make any character you want, but you can make a diverse amount of characters, and having a woman character in there, it makes sense.
I also so against this for your money, don't stuff like oh, it's gonna be so bad. I'm gonna buy it anyways, aren't you? These people.
You're doing the cutout thing again.
Should speak with wallets. And
you're cutting out again. You're cutting out again really bad. Yeah. You there?
Yeah. Am I good now?
Yeah, you sound good now.
Okay. People should start. Let's not the rouse because corporations can hear us. Just like with Star Wars Battlefront, with their money wallets, and it didn't turn out so well.
I'm looking at the article where it's saying that too. Yeah, and it seems like every article, I mean, you can fucking pretty much just tell what all the hubbub is about. It's everyone is focusing on the one female character on there. From both sides, I gotta say, I mean, again, I'm not a Battlefield player. I don't think I've ever played a Battlefield game in my life. But I mean, I can understand, and let me preface this by saying, first and foremost, as long as the company is doing and operating everything, as long as the company is operating legally and not doing anything illegal in their business practices, then I wholeheartedly agree that they should be able to do or make whatever product that they want to within the confines of the law. Now, let me make that clear. So I mean, you can get upset about shady business practices or loot boxes, and I've got very definitive thoughts on that, but you can get upset about them all you want to. The company does have the right to make those products. That being said, you don't have to be happy about them, but just because you're not happy doesn't mean the company's not going to make them. Like you said, vote with your wallet.
Here's the side of the coin of that. Like Call of Duty has implemented female characters in there. Why aren't people mad about that?
Exactly. Well, and here's my whole thing too. I don't think people are actually mad about the women characters. Yes, there's always going to be the small subset of jackasses who are going to be mad about any fucking thing. It is some of the same people that get mad that there are women characters are probably some of the same people that were playing with Lara Croft and Tomb Raider back in the day and didn't give a damn. And if they're upset because World War II supposedly didn't have any females in front lines, well, they did. Even in America, they weren't technically on the front lines most of the time. There were some very rare instances, but generally speaking, no, women were not on the front lines, but they still served. And yeah, there were instances where they did have to get in a firefight. So as far as that goes, yeah, the people getting upset that female characters are completely wrong. Now, the big hubbub seems to be about the fact that this chick has a prosthetic arm, which is highly robotic, and is obviously technology we don't even have today. Which seems to be where the main complaints that I've seen have come from. And again, I'm not saying that there aren't a small amount of people who are just complete assholes getting upset that there's a woman in the game. That's a dumbass argument, and we usually deal with those people the same way we deal with, crazy homeless guys on the street who are trying to pee on you. You ignore them. So, I mean, for the most part, gamers aren't jackasses like that. There are a few. We don't like them either. Their mainstream media or whoever else is getting pissed off at it. We don't like these people either. We'll be the first ones to jump on them because they make us all look bad. But the issue seems to be that people were getting upset over this prosthetic arm, but I don't see any articles mentioning it for more than like maybe one sentence. It's more like, oh, people are mad there's a woman in there. Oh yeah, and she had a prosthetic arm in the realistic shooter game. But it's the woman that they're upset about. I don't buy that at all. Sorry, go ahead.
See, the problem with that is that, just like Battlefield 1, where it was World War 1, they did not do trench warfare at all. So how can people not be mad about that, but be mad about this, prosthetic arm thing? Like, Battlefield 1 has so much irregularities that, like, people should be mad at it, but people weren't because of the gameplay was fun.
Do you say World War One didn't have trench warfare, or the game didn't have trench warfare?
The game didn't have trench warfare.
Okay, but say World War One was like. Okay, yeah, but say World War One was like defined by trench warfare. But okay, I can see that.
Yeah, so like, how can people be mad about this and not that? You know, that's like huge irregularity.
I mean, people in World War One were running around with trench foot. Are you gonna be upset that the skin on your feet aren't falling off while you play the game too? I mean, come on. There's only so much you can do as far as realism. That being said, I won't lie, it is an odd choice to have a prosthetic arm in there. Maybe it's going to be something along the lines of, you know, you can unlock new parts or new cosmetics. I mean, I assume it's something along the lines of a cosmetic. I could easily see something like that being added in the game as DLC or as a unlockable when the game was out and nobody batting an eye. But somehow people are getting pissed off about this when the game ain't come out. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they don't have a right to be. I mean, obviously something is going on with the hardcore fans because there are enough people that this trailer is getting downvoted that big. Now, maybe it's because people are tired of the whole Battlefield Call of Duty thing and they're just tired whenever a new game gets announced. I could see that. I could see the Call of Duty people downvoting Battlefield trailers. I can see the Battlefield people downvoting Call of Duty trailers just because of that, you know, kind of head-to-head rivalry they got. I could see that too. That being said, I don't understand what any of this initial controversy I should say. I don't see what the initial controversy has to do with anything. I can understand it later on because everyone keeps jumping on the few stupid people that do make a big deal about something like a female in the game. Again, I completely back it in the game. I don't see a problem with it. It would be historically accurate depending on the context and from every side. I don't understand people that just kind of get pissy about it, just get pissy about it. But the way the companies have been handling it, I'm not saying it's not necessarily the right thing to do, but I am saying that it did not help their game at all.
I think from DICE perspective, this is great. This is actually really great because it's giving them free publicity without doing anything for them at all whatsoever. It was great. It's good for them all around.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if nothing else, I mean, this is a game I never would have thought twice about if it wasn't for this controversy. Now, I'm still not going to buy the thing. I mean, again, I've never played a Battlefield game and don't care to. I mean, I played one Call of Duty game or two, and I played all the Halos when they were coming out. Same thing, point at the enemy, shoot a bad guy. I mean, if I want to play a game like that, I'll play Warframe. I mean, I do it already. I mean, I don't feel like playing...
Also, if you think about it, this is just people bitching about the game, but they know that they're gonna buy it still. They're still gonna buy it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just free publicity all around. Like you know, it's just something for them to bitch at because they can't bitch about it. That's basically it.
Now, the one part I can agree with some people on, but at the end of the day, I'm going to have to back the company on as far as my beliefs, because I do have to draw a hard line on what is acceptable for me. I can understand if they were touting this as, you know, the super realistic game, and then seeing, you know, the woman with a prosthetic arm, or I can't even say prosthetic, it's a robotic arm. You know, it's not a prosthetic. I've seen a prosthetic. This thing looks like it could crush a freaking Buick. I can understand people who were expecting a super realistic shooter, and I'm not saying that it won't even turn out to be if not for a couple of visuals. I mean, it might still be extremely realistic besides a couple of visuals, which may take you out of the mood, may not. But I can see how a company, having made a product for so long a certain way and people were expecting something from it, could be upset that that company seemed to deviate. For example, Fallout 76, which we're talking about here next, is going to be an online game. There's plenty of crap being thrown at it that way, probably as much, at least in the beginning, as Battlefield 5 is getting. And I think more of it has to do with people just being scared of change in general. And don't get me wrong, the company has every right to change from an artistic standpoint, from a business standpoint. That being said, I can still understand why some people may not want to get the game. I don't know, it's kind of hard to put out there. It's kind of hard to say. I mean, I can understand both sides of it. I can understand why some people might be upset as far as the realism part. As far as the rest of it, I don't see anything there. I mean, It seems, and this whole thing seems like it's just really a fake or a false controversy until I saw that video with all those downloads. Things just got so many downloads because people are just dogpiling it at this point. No, I'm not sure. This is just what I've been hearing, but I forgot who it was here. Let me pull it up. But the CEO here recently just ran into some trouble because essentially, let me find the guy's name here real quick. Give me just a second to pull this up. Here we go. EA's Patrick Sutherland. There we go. Still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Arcade leadership. Okay, here we go. This one's coming from a PC Gamer. It looks like EA's Patrick Sutherland steps down. Chief Design Officer will leave company later this year. An open letter titled "An Update on Our Creative Leadership." EA CEO Andrew Wilson paid tribute to Sutherland's impact on the company over the past 2 decades. He's been a trusted business partner and a good friend. Yada yada. Let's get the part where he's leaving. See, don't even say it. Nobody's saying why he's leaving. But basically, the guy in charge of what was his official title again? Chief Design Officer is stepping down. If I'm not mistaken, he sent out some tweets here recently where he basically told people that if they didn't like the changes or they didn't like what they saw in the trailers or what Battlefield 5 is shaping up to be, to not buy the game. Apparently the game is not doing so well in the pre-orders. As in, it's about dead last as far as like the big 5 coming out here soon. I mean, Fallout 76 is beating it in pre-orders. That's how bad it is. So I think a lot of this is the company kind of bringing it on themselves. I mean, they've turned a extremely small minority of people who were bitching about something as stupid as there being a female in the damn game to this giant freaking controversy that honestly was kind of a non-issue. And now, I mean, they're quite obviously losing out on sales because of it.
That's true. They might be losing on sales, but if you think about it, once the game comes out, they'll probably gain more sales just from reviewers and all these other things.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, yeah, just like you said, it's gonna get probably good reviews because fucking game journalists fucking suck off the big titles when they come out, like it's fucking Cure for Cancer. Fucking, there's still plenty of hardcore fanboys that are gonna buy the game no matter, even if it came in a box full of shit, they're still gonna buy the damn game.
I feel like it's a good decision from them and change some stuff just because the fans didn't want it. I think it's good that they're standing by the game and the developers.
Yeah, whether you like them or not, I mean, artistic, what's the damn word I'm thinking of? Artistic integrity. I mean, if this really is just something you want to do, I mean, I would have to say it does fall into the lines of artistic integrity. I mean, they're not changing it. I mean, they're well within the rights to sell this, so, I mean, they're going to make their money back. They're going to sell the damn game. It may not be game of the year. In fact, I can almost guarantee it won't be, but it's going to sell, and they're going to probably they're going to make a profit. So, I mean, if nothing else, all this has done is probably just added more sales to the game that they otherwise wouldn't have gotten. Yeah, let's face it, by now people, even though they're still selling good, people are still getting tired of Call of Duty and Battlefield, or at least they say they are, but they're still buying them up every time they come out. But, like I said, that's my other thing. Like I said, this one was kind of an odd one for me because there have been people that have been vocal about the whole female thing, which I found stupid. And I can also see how, I mean, this is one I can see from every side, but at the end of the day, even though the company said some stupid shit that really hurt them in the end, I mean, in the end, they can put out whatever game they want to. So, I mean, we'll see how it does. We'll see how people really feel about it when the game releases. So, I don't know. Any final thoughts on that one? Because that one's really a weird one for me. You there, guy?
Yeah, I'm still.
Okay, yeah. Did you have anything else on that? Because, I mean, that's pretty much all I had as far as...
No, that's all I have to say about it too as well.
Alright, so next up we've got, let's go ahead and click out of that. That's pretty much all the prepared ones. Fallout 76, I kind of just want to do kind of an open discussion on that one. Full disclosure, I am really looking forward to this game. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the trailer here. I'm going to play it just kind of on repeat without the sound here. I'm really looking forward to Fallout 76. Kind of introduction to it, for those that don't know, it's coming out November 14th. I've already taken off 3 days of work to play this. I usually take off work if there's a huge game coming out that I want to, and this is, I mean, I took out when Fallout 4 came off. I'm going to be streaming this when it comes out on November 14th. It's the first online Fallout game, and again, mixed reactions across the board. People like me are excited, and there are people who were claiming that nobody knew what Fallout 76 was going to be when it was announced, even though it was, personally to me, it was quite clear what the game was when they announced it because they flat out said it. They said it was going to be an online, open world game where you go and explore with no NPCs, you got to rebuild society. It's going to be mainly focused around the building mechanic in Fallout 4. There's going to be, they said they're going to be, what's the word called? Area quests to do. There's going to be quests given to you by the Overseer, which is apparently a robot. I mean, they gave us a good description of what the game was going to be, yet somehow people were very confused on what the game was, and that's something that I couldn't quite follow. I mean, when you first saw the trailer or heard about the game, what were your reactions? Maybe that's just me.
I think it's good. I just don't want to overhype it like I usually do with Bethesda's games. I hope that they do it like Fallout 3 and not like Fallout 4 because the Fallout 4 quest line was so like the choices were pretty much all the same, and I don't want that in a Bethesda Fallout game.
Yeah, and you were right. I mean, Fallout 4 definitely was more linear. I mean, yeah, there were, you know, the big major factions. I mean, the three big ones, and I had some real issues. It was my favorite and least favorite Fallout game of all time. I mean, I liked a lot of the changes that they made and didn't like a lot of the others. Especially the karma system. I mean, how much of a bastard do I know I'm being if I don't know when I'm, you know, got bad karma? But, I mean, they made it, I mean, fairly clear when it was released what it was going to be. I mean, games like, you know, Rust and No Man's Sky, I mean, basically any kind of crafting survival game, that's what this game is going to be and what they said it was going to be. I like those games, you know, the kind of open-ended crafting, just keep going kind of games. Technically, Subnautica could be that, although they did have a storyline with a definitive end. You could still technically play the game forever. I like those kinds of games. I also know that the crafting survival games have also been done to death here in recent years, so I can see how people are a little bit kind of burnt out on that. At the same time, huge Fallout fan. I like games like this. This would be a good fit for me, I think. So, what about you? Are you, I mean, you mentioned Fallout 3. Are you a huge Fallout fan or any kind of Bethesda game fan as far as RPGs?
I'm a huge Bethesda fan.
You Bethesda nerd too?
I'm just lowering my expectations before it comes out because every time you overhype something and it comes out, it's not going to be good. It never is because it will never live up to your expectations. So I'm keeping mine very low.
Oh yeah, I think the last 2 or 3 pre-orders I did, I remember the first game I ever pre-ordered, it was Diablo 3. And if you don't know how that launch went, it was fucking terrible.
That
yeah.
Shit fest.
Could not play that night. I got in for like 5 minutes and immediately got kicked when I finally got on the servers. That was the first game I ever pre-ordered. They had a huge party at the GameStop going on by my place. They had people out there role-playing and sword fighting, and then got the game, tried to play it at home, couldn't even get into the servers for like an hour, and I was done with the game through all modes in like 2 days. It was complete shit. I was so pissed. And I never played a Diablo game before that, too. That was one that I wholeheartedly admit I jumped on the bandwagon because I heard about this game. It seemed cool. I jumped on it. I have regrets. Matter of fact, even after they came out with updates for the game and, re-released it and all these other things, I haven't touched it since then. Since that first week, I have not gone back to it. My next one after that was No Man's Sky. I think we all know how that one went, although I have been playing again recently. And don't get me wrong, when No Man's Sky released, I actually had about 100 hours in the game before I got bored. So, I played for like a week straight, and I'm not talking a couple hours a day. I had over 100 hours in the game by that first week. And, I enjoyed it that whole time. But when I did get bored with it, it was a sudden wall, and there was no getting past it. It's like, boom, okay, now I'm bored. There's no reason for me to keep going with this. Damn, what was the other game? There's one more game that I pre-ordered, and I was just so... Oh, yeah, this one. The last one I pre-ordered, I'd actually gotten for some other guys in my gaming guild. So I actually belong to another gaming crew besides the one for Warframe. I actually have some guys that I used to play Destiny 1 with. We all met up there playing Destiny 1. It's me, a few Marines, and one other civilian, but it's mainly Marines. We played a ton of Destiny 1. I actually bought a copy of Destiny 2 for all four of us through my company. We Atlanta Entertainment, we bought a copy of Destiny 2 for all of us to stream when it came out. You see what's happened with Destiny 2. So those are my pre-order experiences, and my 3 times, and all 3 times, holy shit, could I have chosen a game worse than those. So
I just feel like pre-orders now are not worth it. I feel like you should just wait till a game comes out and buy it. All the exclusive things on pre-orders are just a scam, to be honest. That's my response to that.
Oh yeah, and I'll say this, for the most part, there are a few games and companies that I still trust to pre-order, and I do a lot more research now. Bethesda, while we're on the topic, is one company, and probably honestly the only company at this point that I will trust a pre-order from, just because they have built that clout with me. And I know what Fallout 76 is going into it. I don't expect it to be like a Fallout 4 or Fallout 3 or New Vegas or anything. I expect it to essentially be, Rust or, any other crafting survival game. Like Minecraft basically, or Fallout 4 just with the building mechanic. I expect it to be a crafting survival game in the Fallout skin, which I'm fine with. I'm actually excited for something like that. And the fact that it's online, I can live out some, pretty awesome power over fantasies I've always had. That kind of game, that does appeal to me. If you ask me what kind of game I would want to play, it would be Fallout 4 online. Or better yet, I'd probably say Fallout New Vegas online with some mods tossed in there, but this is the kind of game that I'd be into. I'm not saying everybody would be into that, or every Bethesda fan would be, because I'd also be more excited for Elder Scrolls 6 if it was coming out instead. I'd have 10 times the excitement for Elder Scrolls 6 or Fallout 5, say, if that was coming out. But Bethesda's about the only company that I would pre-order from. That, and they tend to not do, at least for the Elder Scrolls and Fallout games, pre-order exclusives that I can remember. Like, I can't think of any pre-order exclusives for Fallout 4. I can't think of any for Skyrim. There's DLC that comes out afterwards, which, I'm fine with DLC if, it's worth it. I know, technically Obsidian made it, but, Fallout New Vegas had a ton of DLC, anything from weapon packs to, I think there was 4 major story quests that added in whole new areas in some cases. Fallout 4's, not so much. Fallout 4 definitely, the DLC for that one was a huge falling off for me. Far Harbor was great. I liked Automatron. We only got one other major story. We only got 2 major story missions, and Automatron was kind of like a half DLC story. It went by pretty quick, but you got a pretty cool toy to play with afterwards. Far Harbor was amazing. I'd say definitely one of the best DLCs I've ever played for a Bethesda game. I did not like Nuka World at all. I hated it. Absolutely, the DLC itself didn't make sense to me. The entire, I can't even describe it. Like when that came out, you basically had to do everything in that. First off, you essentially had to play as a bad guy if you wanted to do everything, and if you did do everything, you essentially had to destroy all the work you had done on the main quest with all your settlements to progress through that. It made no sense to me whatsoever. That, and I just fucking hate raiders too. I would never join a raider faction given the option. Any other bad guys I'd be fine with. I've joined the Brotherhood. I've joined every bad guy I could. I even joined the prison guys and Fallout New Vegas at one point, but I would never join a raider gang. And that they made a DLC out of probably my most hated enemy and forced me to destroy my hard work in that DLC. I don't know. What did you think about it? Maybe that's just me being too emotional about that particular DLC.
I think it's basically it was dispensers, and the only other thing I have to say is Tunnel Snake's rule.
I don't know. I like to fuck with the tunnel snakes. I got those little pussies in check when I played Fallout 3. Yeah, tunnel snakes. I give you that one. They did have a good look to them. I won't lie. But yeah, Fallout 76. I mean, I'm kind of just going on a tangent with them right now, but they've been coming out with more and more details for what's going to be in the game. Again, people didn't seem to know what the game was when they first talked about it. I mean, it's pretty obvious, just rust with Fallout 4 or Fallout 4 skin, which again, foreskin, that came out wrong. But a Fallout 4 skin over it. Had to separate those two words, or it sounds weird. Let me keep playing this because it's been paused. I mean, I'm good with it. I mean, they came out and talked about how the perks and leveling up are going to work now. How there's going to be perk cards, which immediately made my microtransaction radar started going off when they said perk cards. But as of right now, they've assured us that you won't be able to buy them through microtransactions. You're only going to get them through leveling up. I'm wondering if you can trade players for them too. Otherwise, I'm a bit curious how it's going to work. If there's like set cards you can get, and you're always going to get them, because they said, I think for the first 10 levels, every 2 levels you're going to get a card pack, and then afterwards it's every 5 levels you get a card pack with a bunch of random cards in it. Potentially it sounds like it's be possible to never get certain cards, so I'm kind of curious if you're going to be able to trade, or if there's certain levels where you're definitely going to get certain cards, because I know you can actually choose some cards, and then there's going to be some card packs, so I'm curious to see how that works in the long run. They've talked a bit about how your base can be destroyed and rebuilt, which is something I was kind of worried about, because one of the first things me and a lot of players are going to be doing is trying to get our hands on those nuke codes so we can nuke other players' bases. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I would have to say, hopefully there are a lot of mods, and knowing the modding community, they'll bypass the whole card thing. So I wouldn't be worried about that. If they don't do mods, the community's having enough.
See, and that's part of what we're about to get into. I was worried about mods to begin with when they said this was going to be an online game, which I knew immediately was going to have a huge impact on the modding community, because it's kind of hard to mod a game that's online. Now, we've kind of seen some of what that would look like through the Elder Scrolls Online. Technically, that was made by ZeniMax, Bethesda's parent company. And the mods they have aren't necessarily mods that would affect anyone other than you. For example, there were some visual mods that would let your character turn into any sprite that was in the game. Obviously, that wouldn't affect how... Like, it wouldn't affect PvP. You'd still be doing the same moves. You would just look like a different character to yourself. There were plenty of overlays. Tweaks to damage numbers, how they would appear for you. There'd be overlays for your screen. These are fairly common in games like WoW, and Elder Scrolls Online, and Star Wars: The Old Republic. So overlays, they don't necessarily give you a super edge over the competition, because it doesn't actually affect what you do to another player. It just kind of affects how you see things. I knew from the beginning there was going to be an issue with mods with Fallout 4, because Fallout and Elder Scrolls games are games where they get modded a crap ton. That's what gives them longevity, is the community mods the hell out of these. I mean, I've still got, I've got my damn Fallout New Vegas damn near looking like Fallout 4 graphics right now, with tons of stuff to do on it just from mods. That's what gives them more playability. In fact, I'd say the modding community has more with making these games famous than Bethesda does. So no offense, Bethesda, please keep making Elder Scrolls and Fallout games. But um, yeah, I was wondering about that. Apparently, first off, if you hadn't heard, the game's not going to be available through Steam. It's going to be available through Bethesda.net, which
I think that's great because Steam is not gonna get a portion of the revenue, which is you're directly supporting the creators, which is really good.
yeah, and I'm up for supporting the mod creators. I mean, there was a huge modding controversy a while ago. You may not have heard about it. I mean, this was years ago. As far as I know, it's kind of blown over, but I mean, this affected modders and YouTubers and some pretty popular ones. I'm not going to bring their names out because I don't want to hash up the whole controversy. But there was a big issue between YouTubers getting paid to show mods or do mod spotlights versus mod creators who legally couldn't get paid directly for the work they're doing. I mean, they could do Patreon, but through Patreon, you're not technically paying somebody to do something. You're just giving them money to live, and then they do what it is that they're doing, if that makes any sense.
I feel like Bethesda is gonna do the modding route, but it's gonna be through them. The creators will have to go through them.
Yeah, it's going to be...
That's the only thing.
Yeah, it's going to be Creation Club only mods, and it pretty much has to be.
Or the other thing I'm thinking about is like how GTA 4 did the modding, the illegal mods. That's the only other way I see of them doing mods.
Well, I mean... Oh, crap, let me... did that wrong. Let me go back. I think I've already said it's going to be through Bethesda.net, and it's going to be through Creation Club only. So there will be mods available at some point, but it's going to be through Bethesda.net. So it's going to be things that everybody would technically be able to get. The only question is, are they all going to be paid mods? Because they can take one or two routes on this. They could essentially say, okay, because this is an online game, we have to, for balance reasons, check all the mods you guys would want to use because the mods you use would affect other people playing. I can understand that. Like, let's say somebody made a mod to where all you had to do was shoot a character once and they died instantly and you got all their loot. Obviously, that is wildly unbalanced and is game breaking. Well, let's say you wanted to alter your power armor to make it look like the Enclave power armor for Fallout 3. Obviously, something like that wouldn't necessarily have a detrimental effect on other players. It would just essentially be a skin. Or let's say you want to add in different weapons, that weren't available in Fallout 76 or were available in other games. Bethesda would go through, kind of make sure they're balanced and they wouldn't be game breaking, and put them in to Bethesda.net. I'm fine with all that. My question is, are all of them going to be paid, or will creators be able to opt out of them having to be paid to download it? Because if that be the case, the game's going to become a bit pay to win at that point, depending on some of these mods that come out.
Knowing modders and knowing the internet, there will be mods that you won't have to pay for. I guarantee you. Either mods or hacks that you won't have, that people are gonna make, are gonna be overpowered, and you don't have to worry about that.
Oh,
to
yeah.
be honest, unless you use it.
Well, and the overpowered ones, I mean, for personal servers, whenever they eventually come out, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you can mod that all to hell and back, just like you do your personal Fallout and Elder Scrolls games. What I'm worried about is, and this is kind of just any online game worry, is that people are going to hack the game. I mean, they're going to do it. People still hack, Overwatch and Fortnite and all these other games. I mean, they get banned. There's pretty hefty penalties for doing so. So I'm not.
That's gonna be on the best part because this is their first real major online game, and we're gonna just have to wait and see how they react to the hacking community and the illegal modding community. To be honest.
Yeah, and I assume it's going to be something along the lines of like what happens to people like in CS:GO or Fortnite or any of the popular online games, especially competitive games, or especially in a game like this where you actually have to build your stuff and people can destroy your base. I assume the penalties are going to probably be fairly hefty, and I think that might be why they're doing this through Bethesda.net, so they can actually ban people's accounts for cheating. Let's just hope that they do a better job than some companies have by banning people accidentally or wiping progress, that kind of thing. Again, that's a risk with any online game, but I can see why they're doing this to Bethesda.net. The community's had mixed feelings about it. I can understand why they're doing this, especially since they're trying to keep things more in-house and make sure things like, cross-compatibility or cross-play is enabled, among all systems. I mean, Bethesda's still in kind of putting their foot down with Sony or trying to stand up to them with, I think it's Elder Scrolls Champions or something. I'm just saying basically they won't get the game if it's not, cross-compatible. And I can also see them setting up something to where if you have a character on one system, if you're signing through Bethesda.net, you can then go play on any other system and then play that character. I can see something like that being one of the reasons that they're doing that too, kind of preemptively getting that in place.
What I think they're going to do is have separate servers for separate consoles, simply because of Microsoft and PlayStation's whole verification for patches and stuff like that. So they're probably going to do separate servers, most likely.
I'm thinking there are too. I mean, a lot of people are pushing for crossplay, and Sony is being kind of the biggest pain in the ass for that. As far as crossplay, even Nintendo's been a bit more lenient on that, although they still have their issues too. But Sony's been one of the ones. I mean, if you can remember, Sony was, I think, the last ones to get I think Sony was the last ones to get mod for PS4 versions of Fallout 4. They were pushing hardcore on that one. And in fact, that's one of the reasons why I had to get it on PC, because we weren't going to have it on PlayStation for a long time, and they finally got through with that crap. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be crossplay when it comes out either. One, because I'm pretty sure they already have the infrastructure set up, just like you said, different servers for different systems, which again I kind of expected already. And two, I think they'll have different servers, but your progress and your character could still be set to Bethesda.net. Like, let's say, I mean, even when you play through a console, you oftentimes have to still, make an account for that game. Your progress could still be transferred between consoles. It would just transfer over to that server. Does that make sense? I'm not saying that's what they're doing. I'm saying that could be a possibility. I don't know. Maybe that's just over speculation on my part, but that could be one of the other reasons why they're doing this. And again, from Bethesda's part, I mean, it makes sense to keep control of their own servers or their own accounts. I mean, that does make sense because we see how Sony locked down the Fortnite accounts for people playing Fortnite on PlayStation 4. I mean, that's still going on if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe other people have different thoughts, but still a game I am crazy excited to play. I've actually been trying to ignore it a little bit so that I forget that it's coming out and I don't just sit here every day wondering when I can play Fallout 76.
No, I feel exactly the same way.
So, but there's that one. So like I said, Fallout 76 coming out November 14th. I'm not getting paid by Bethesda. Bethesda, if you're watching, look a brother up. Hey, no, I'll pimp your channel out. I'll pimp you out. No, I'm fucking with you. Well, I would. I mean, I would give me some free games or something. But, yeah, like I said, Fallout 76, man, I cannot wait for that game. But, alright, so we got one more topic today. And this one is a bit more controversial as far as why it's even on my channel. This is one, I won't lie, it's a bit loosely tied to it, but just because of the fact we were just talking, I mean, we began the segment today essentially talking about SJWs and people having standards in gaming and game journalists and all this stuff. There's been a pretty big controversy, and I understand if most people don't know about it, and I'm only really shining a light on it so that I can kind of put my ideas and my standards out there. So let me pull this up real quick. I'm not even sure there'd be any articles about this. It's probably just YouTube creators. So let me check real quick. Let's see. Yeah, it's all YouTube stuff here. So let me go ahead and pull up the YouTube videos for this, because it's gonna be a pretty big one. Okay, so as far as YouTube community, We're going to talk about someone named Mundanematt here, Matt Jarbo. And I'm saying his name because he announces himself in his channel, so I'm not doxing anybody. So he announces this himself. Everybody knows his name, and they know his face. Anything past that, I don't know, and I wouldn't say on here anyway. But there's been a pretty big controversy with someone named Mundanematt. Now, there's a YouTuber named It's a Gundam, and I'm going to pull his channel up now real quick just so I can kind of pimp him out because he's somebody that I watch. Let's see. Sorry, there we go. Alright, so It's a Gundam. If you're watching, I love you, buddy. But, I'm a small-time creator. I mean, I've got 131 subs at the time of making this video. And even I, not having really interacted with any other YouTube creators very much or anything like that, there's one thing that every YouTube creator knows or should know from the get-go from starting your channel. And that is, with all the issues with YouTube, with how stringent this platform is, with the trouble you can get into, there's one thing you do not do, and that is false flag or false DMCA someone else's channel. For those that don't know, if your channel gets flagged for, going against community guidelines, you get what is, if it goes through, you get what's called a hard strike. You can also get a warning. Usually, especially with smaller creators, you get something called a hard strike. 3 strikes and your channel is deleted. Now, you can do things to get those strikes off. You can appeal to it. But basically, each strike, you lose the ability to do more things on your channel. For example, if I were to receive a hard strike, I lose the ability to live stream. I think on my second strike, I lose the ability to upload videos at all for, I think, 30 to 90 days. I think I've heard 30 days. I think I've heard up to 60 to 90 days. Basically, strikes against your channel for breaking the community guidelines. Alright, so before I continue on with this, Kai, you said you knew a little bit about Mundanematt. Let me know what your experience has been about him, with him before this.
I know that he talks about events and current drama stuff. That's pretty much all I know about him. He does, yeah, it's news, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, so back when the whole Gamergate thing started, and again, I got very definitive thoughts on this, what at the core it was supposed to be. The whole thing with Gamergate was it was a movement where gamers wanted ethics in journalists. Basically, it was found out that journalists and game creators had a more close relationship than people were comfortable with, and quite a few things came out. I'm not going to dredge up a bunch of stuff, but basically, this guy named Matt Jarbo, he had a channel, and he got flagged by a game developer at the time, and his channel received some strikes. And essentially, he wrote about it, he talked about it in his videos, and he kind of got big talking about what had happened to him. Now, just like you said, he kind of talks about news issues. It could be gaming, it's pretty much anything. I've seen him go over anything from police attacks to gaming to, basically anything that's made the news, he'll kind of go over. Can't say he's a particularly ecstatic creator. I'm not saying I'm the shit myself, but best way to say it, he puts out like 3 or 4 videos a day, just over everything. I had been subbed to him for quite a while, and I had to unsub here recently. I don't know all the details, but as it turns out, a lot of people in the community had been getting hard strikes, or had been getting their videos and channels reported. As it turned out, it was Mundanematt doing it. Long story short, and again, I only have most of the overview, so I can't go into details on who was involved and what dates and this. But essentially, there was a live stream, and Matt was, basically all these people were getting strikes whenever they would talk about Matt's channel. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if mine gets the strikes, which you damn well believe I will be fighting, and I have a lawyer to back it up. But people were getting striked whenever they were talk to Mundanematt. They would get their tweets taken down, or they would get their channels, they would get a hard strike. And if you're talking about someone, and whenever you talk about that person, something bad happens to you, you assume it's that person doing it to you, right? Like if, let's say you had a YouTube channel there, Caillou, and um, every time you talked about me, whether it be on Twitter or YouTube, you know, you got a warning from YouTube or you got a strike on your channel, who would you assume was doing that? That was an actual question.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Um, I'm still formulating my thought. You can just continue.
Yeah, okay, well, basically people had suspected that it had been him because they were talking about him in a negative way, and rightfully so as it turned out. But whenever someone would talk about Mundanematt or, you know, in any kind of negative way, their videos or channels would get strikes. Well, he ended up having a live stream, and I can't remember who all it was with. There were some big creators there, and this is not me trying to just not name other creators. I mean, I'm trying to remember who it was. There were some pretty big creators. Actually, I'm not even about to put it up. You can look it up, but I don't want to go too crazy with the details. But I think Keemstar was one person in the live stream. There was somebody else. But basically, all these people got together, and one day Matt joined them, and they were asking him, hey, is it you who was doing these strikes against our channels? What is going on? Why are you striking our channels? So Mundanematt goes in saying, it's not me. It's got to be someone in the community. I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do it. You can trust me. I wouldn't do it. Well, as it turns out, when you strike somebody's channel, your strike history, or, you know, what you've done as far as who you've reported, there is a way to check that in your own history. So basically, in the live stream, this is brought up to Mundanematt, and they're like, oh yeah, you know, you can just check to see what all you've done, what your activity is. You can easily just, you know, click this link, go to your report history, and show us that you haven't done any of this reporting if you hadn't actually done it. Well, at that point in the live stream, Mundanematt just got silent. So he knew he was busted. Long story short, he gets busted as it turns out that this guy, who essentially made his name because somebody had false flagged him and had put a strike on his channel falsely, was doing that to other people. Now, go ahead.
I feel like if he's doing it purposely, he's not thinking about the consequences. He's not thinking about people's lives, to be honest. Like, that's something he hasn't thought about. He just think it's their YouTube channel, and, you know, that's so far what I think.
Well, again, and the reason he even really has the channel he has now, yes, he had a channel, his biggest growth was when he made the videos about he himself having that done to him, and then he turns around and does that to other people, many other people, as it turns out. Now,
that just might be a PR move on his part to get more subscribers. You know how drama is on YouTube. The more drama it is, the more subscribers you get.
Problem is, his base doesn't like that. He's been hemorrhaging subscribers like daily. And I've been checking the videos he's been putting out. His videos are essentially downvoted all to hell, which, by the way, people, just in case you didn't know, yeah, downvote kind of gives you an idea of how your video is doing. It still counts as interaction on the video, though. So upvote, downvote, all that really does is help out the creator. As last I checked, it doesn't actually hurt them at all. So, just so you guys know. But yeah, every video he's put out, I mean, he put out a half-hearted apology on Tumblr, which isn't even where all this crap happened, and is essentially still putting out videos. Every single comment in those videos is just people demanding him apologize for what he did. And he's been hemorrhaging subs like this guy, again, he was kind of a middle of the road, again, not too energetic, not anything special. I mean, he was literally just kind of some guy. So it's not like he really can hold people to his audience to begin with. But if this was a PR move, it has blown up in his face, because it's not like people are going to him to check this guy out. And if they are, they're obviously not liking what they're seeing, because he's losing people left and right.
I don't know. What do you think? Do you think he will get subscribers back if he apologizes at this point? I feel like it's a done and lost cause for him.
I think it's a done. I'm sure if he keeps going, eventually people will forget it. But if he apologizes, it's not going to help at this point. And I have a reason for bringing all this up too. It's not just random YouTube drama, but I have a reason I want to tie all this in. And the tie with this particular creator is he got famous because of Gamergate and what happened to him because of it. And then he turns around and does the exact same thing. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is because I want to make sure that no matter what it is you're doing, especially in the games industry, and when I say games industry, I don't just mean the creators, I don't just mean like EA, the big companies making them, or, Steam, who are putting the games out and hosting them. I mean the actual journalists and critics and reviewers as well. I consider myself an amateur journalist right now. Again, I'd love to do this for a living and be able to stream for a living. Right now, it's just more of a hobby. I'm still building this up, so it's slow, but we're getting there. I do have a few loyal or very loyal followers, a few people that do watch the live streams quite often whenever they can. But I want to make sure that everyone, if you're going to review games or you're going to do this, you're going to do something in the game sphere on YouTube and on the internet, you have to draw a hard line as far as what your standards are and what you are and are not willing to fight for, do, or what it is you actually believe. I mean, here it is, we have a guy whose whole spiel, and the whole reason he got famous was because of he wanted journalistic integrity. He didn't want the YouTube system, abused. He didn't want, people striking other content creators. He didn't want this, and he wanted people to be honest, and he just pulled pretty much the biggest backstab move and scummy move one could do to other YouTube creators.
See, what people don't understand is that the YouTube face that creators put on is just a facade. You don't know the real person behind it, That's what most people don't understand.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's hard doing this, especially, and I admire the people that can do this for a living and be very successful at it. But I don't even want to use the phrase journalistic integrity, but I guess just integrity as a person, because we talked about quite a few different things today. We talked about, the whole ninja thing. We talked about Battlefield 5. We talked about Mundanematt. We talked about Fallout 76. And there's one thing that I wanted to make clear with everything. You have to have that hard line of what are your standards and are you going to adhere to them? Like when it comes to things like EA and loot boxes and things like that, I may not like it, but I still have to take that hard stance. Well, as a businessman myself, not quite successful yet, but still as a businessman, I still have to have that integrity to say, okay, yes, I do not like EA profiting off of what is essentially online gambling. At the same time, I can't really come out and say, I can say my opinion, but at the end of the day, I still have to back EA as far as they have the right to do something. Doesn't mean I have to like it, though. And that's a big thing. I can have an opinion versus what my opinion is still going to be different from, or necessarily different. I can have a separate opinion for what my hard stances are, as long as I don't cross those or become a hypocrite. I support EA's ability to make money. I say, okay, if you can make money as a business person, you are legally within your right to do that. So from that standpoint, go ahead and do so. That being said, as a consumer, here's my hard line. I can't cross this line as a consumer, if that makes sense.
See, that's the thing about gaming. As a community, we need to stand united as consumers as well. If we don't like something, we have to speak our mind. That's the only way that's gonna work. Because if we talk and if all we do is talk and we don't have to bite, like it's not gonna work at all whatsoever. We saw that with Battlefield and with previous games before it too as well. Like EA is always gonna try. At the end of the day, it's a company and they're trying to make money. So how's like Gachapon and all that DLC stuff? It's been working for them for so far until Battlefield. That's where we drew the line, and I feel like if we keep letting them go down the road, DLC, pre-orders, and stuff like that, it's gonna get a lot worse.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it started with the pre-orders, and it was the DLC, and started just spiraling out of control, and now we're watching game after game come out that is complete and utter crap. Everything's full of DLC, and then suddenly something like God of War comes along where they just make a game that's good and sell it, and the entire industry is shocked like, how did they do this? How did they make so much money, or how did this sell so well when people will support you if you make a good game? That's another thing too. A lot of places were making just absolute shitty games and then wondering why their games weren't selling. Take what is it, Aliens Colonial Marines, which as it turns out, years later, turns out a lot of the game was screwed up because there was a spelling mistake in the code. It turns out there was like an extra A in one of the lines of code. I just saw this recently that caused the aliens in the game to not work right, basically. Somebody just found this out. Yeah, that was insane. And the game, I think the creative designer or the head guy in the game is just completely oblivious and arrogant to think that the game was good and everybody else was just dumb. Your game had a fucking spelling error in the code that completely screwed. That right there, at the very least, shitty quality control. At the very least. Take something like Destiny 2, which was, Destiny 1 had, I think $1 billion total between advertising and development. I didn't play Destiny 1 when it first came out. I played after the Taken King came out, and by that point there was a lot of content in there. So the $60 I played for all the content at that time was worth it. And they came out with more stuff that I enjoyed. Then come along with Destiny 2, the game felt rushed. I mean, they didn't even have vendors in the game when it was released. That's how bad it was. And then lo and behold, it turns out that the game had to be completely tossed out and redone and made in 16 months because the game essentially got freaking reimagined halfway through it. And then they wonder why people are getting pissed off when half the cool stuff in the game is microtransactions. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm never buying another Destiny game again. I mean, they've killed that for me. Like, there's tons of new stuff in Destiny 2 out now that looks like it would be cool. Turns out some of it was supposed to be in the game to begin with, apparently. And some of it was stuff that should have been in there already because we've already had Destiny 1. I mean, they're just now catching up to where Destiny 1 was. It's not like they were creating a whole new game. They're supposed to be piggybacking off the first game and expanding from there. Instead, they're just now back where the original game was at. I'm never buying another Destiny game again. Even if the game is fucking shooting rainbows out of my ass and would give me 1,000 hours of playtime, it's not worth it for me to go through and spend 50, 60, 70, $100 in DLC at this point when I already spent $100 on the game on pre-order with all the bells and whistles come along with it, and you gave me a game that was worth maybe $20. No Man's Sky, a huge one. I mean, they're making, I would say at this point, No Man's Sky is probably the only company who, in my eyes, have redeemed themselves. Just because even 2 years after the game was released in that incomplete state that it was in, and keep in mind, I still think Sean Moore, I don't remember if he has or not, but I still think an apology and admission that they rushed the game out is warranted. But did they? Okay. Well, 2 years down the line, I mean, we're still getting update, and I'm not talking about like a little patch here and a little patch here. We're getting huge game-changing updates that are doubling, tripling, quadrupling the size of the game and what you can do in it for free. That's what Destiny should have been doing, and Hello Games has got, what, like 17 fucking people or 15 people? That's insane.
See, the problem is that they're a AAA game, so they don't care what people are saying as long as they buy the games, which is what people are doing. So they're not gonna care until people stop buying it. Same thing happened with Mass Effect, the most recent Mass Effect.
Andromeda.
So many glitches. Yeah, Andromeda. So many glitches. People, again, not a lot of people bought it. There were reviews out about it, so everyone knew about it and not bought about it. So.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of these big games are going to start just being dead on arrival now, and the sooner it happens, the better. I mean, like I said, there's very few companies that have the clout with me that I'll even trust what they say. Bethesda's one, and even with everything going on with 76, I know what 76 is going to be before it comes out because they said what it is, and this just happens to be the game that I want to play. I mean, if you're looking for a traditional Fallout experience, they even said, oh, actually, no, I think it was a journalist that said that if you're looking for, the traditional Fallout experience, this isn't the game for you. It's a survival game set in the Fallout universe. It's basically Rust, but survival. It's Subnautica, but survival. It's Minecraft, but, it's a Fallout game. So I mean, that's something again. It's my kind of game, so I'm up for it. Now, Hello Games right now. I mean, I don't expect them to be putting out any other huge games here soon. I think they're gonna keep pushing with some more No Man's Sky stuff for a little bit longer. I do think they are planning something else huge right now. They're still going through a bunch of patches since the next update. And I don't mean next, I mean literally the update's called Next. And they're still getting a lot of patches worked out. There's been a lot of bugs just because introducing multiplayer into a game that obviously wasn't designed to have multiplayer in it. You'd be surprised. I mean, you wouldn't be surprised. There's a ton of bugs in there because of it. But I'd say them and Hello Games right now. Hello Games is even keel with me right now. So I'd be interested to see what they do. Bethesda, they've built up plenty of clout with me. Don't get me wrong. I still can't say I agree with the Creation Club and how it's been implemented. And I still don't like at least half the DLC. Actually, I only like 2 of the DLCs from Fallout 4. Those were a couple of huge hits for me. So, seeing how 76 plays out and the next Elder Scrolls play out is going to determine if I trust Bethesda anymore. So, I mean, the list of game companies I trust at this point is very quickly shrinking. So... But, I mean, that's pretty much all I got, unless you got anything else you'd like to go over. I mean, I know I've done most of the speaking, but is there anything going on big right now you know about that I might not, or anything you want to go over?
Um, it, uh,
I think Caillou's having a stroke.
yeah, I'm just thinking really hard about to say.
Well, keep in mind, we're going to be doing this podcast like I said, I used to do this podcast every Friday. Then I changed to Saturdays because I didn't want to do it after I got off work. And then work crap happened and vacations. And like I said, this is episode 9. I haven't done this podcast in a couple of months at least. So I'm gonna get back to doing this at least every week. And then as we get more and more people to come in, as we get more and more viewers, I'm going to start upping this up to potentially a couple times a week. So I'm going to say anything else we got, I mean, you're always welcome back. Like I said, you were our guest today. I try to bring in guests whenever I can. But like I said, anytime you want to come back to talk about anything, I'm going to be doing this every week again too. So if we got anything else we'd like to talk about, I keep notes here at my desk to talk about stuff when podcast time comes. We can go over it then. So, I mean... And we're not going to run out of any kind of gaming news or controversies anytime soon. So, if that's all you got, that is all I got. Yep. So, thank you all for watching, or if you watch us in the future, this has been We Have Landed Entertainment's, episode 9 of our podcast, The Return. Try to do this every Friday. I'm going to try to do it at a set time next time. I was kind of... Yeah, it was a hard day today, so we got started a bit late. I had a few people who were going to come in, and then Caillou took a little bit longer, and then I just didn't want to do it for later. I mean, I've been pretty tired today, too, so a lot of changes at work.
That's all good. I'm just a little busy today, so...
No, you're good, man.
Maybe next time it'll be a lot better, I think.
Yeah, like I said, appreciate you coming by. Again, that was, I'm Caillou. What's the name of the clan again? The Brewer. I keep saying Brewer, it's a Beware. I keep wanting to say...
Beware, like Pokemon Beware.
Yeah, I keep wanting to say, every time I see that, I want to say the Brewer Dragons, and I'm in the damn clan. So, that's the Beware Dragons on Warframe. We play Warframe. Check it out. Again, check out my channel. My wife and I stream as often as we can. We've also got other actual members of We Have Landed Entertainment. I've got 3 other actual members. We've all got real life stuff going on, but we are all planning on playing 76 when it comes out. So hopefully we can get some good streams out of that. And I'll see if I can't make a few other actual edited videos here soon too. So thank you all for coming by. Thank you again, Caillou, for coming by. And we will see you all later.